All right, so I want to talk about this because this has been a narrative going around quite a bit, and I don't quite understand why it's happening, right? I can kind of understand where people are coming from, but I don't know why now that people are concerned or worried or I don't know. It's kind of strange. So as you guys know, the San Antonio Spurs grabbed De'Aaron Fox for little to nothing, right? He just kind of fell into our laps. He said he wanted to go to San Antonio. Spurs said, hey, we can make that happen. Here's a couple dollars and a ham sandwich. And the Kings took it, right? They didn't have a choice because he forced his way out. He wanted to go to San Antonio. You're really going to screw yourself over if you just would have waited or prolonged this for too long. So the Spurs put themselves in a phenomenal situation in which now with Chris Paul probably leaving, right? We have a point guard for that's not even in his prime yet, if we're being frank. We got a point guard that's going to be there during these playoff runs that the Spurs should be going on pretty soon. And he can gradually bring another point guard into that position, right? Teach him and have that point guard eventually be our point guard. Don't know if that's going to be Steph Castle because I don't think that he's a full-time point guard. He's just not that type of player. And I know that Dylan Harper, more than likely the Spurs grab him, and he could more than likely be a future point guard or a full-time point guard. I think even more so than Steph Castle can be. So we're just in a great position, right? We got a lot of different options, and this is all good news. But there's been this weird narrative going around saying that Fox is too old, and quite a few people have been talking about it. Unfortunately, I had a post here in which I wasn't going to bash the person, but I did have a post here that I responded to because there was a post basically saying, hey, I think that we should trade Fox, right? And this person wasn't the only person that said this. It was quite a few people saying, hey, in the next few years, we probably should move Fox. I think what's going on, it's a lot of recency bias, right? I think a lot of people are watching the playoffs right now, looking at the young talent, looking at OKC, and instantly going to, I want that, Spurs need to make this happen, right? But I think people need to keep things in perspective. Fox is 27 years old, Wemby is 21, and I think we need to stop thinking about the timeline so much. We are becoming infatuated with the timeline, right? I mean, we're infatuated with, does this player fit? We're infatuated with the timeline and what their age is. And at this point, I'm not too worried about it unless we're talking about giving away our future for a 30 plus euro player. Then it's like, okay, you don't want to give up your whole future for it. But Fox should not be in this conversation at all. And I think people are missing how good Fox actually is. I mean, he is literally a top 5, maybe top 3 point guard in the NBA. I would say definitely top 5 easily. But the Spurs got one of the best point guards known to man, one of the most clutch players in the NBA. They have a crazy talent in Fox, and we haven't even been able to see him play with Wemby much at all. And people are already saying, hey, calling it off because the timeline is off. We really need to get off of that. And as you can see, you probably already read it, but I illustrated it here. Keep things in perspective, guys. The big 3 that we had weren't all on the same timeline, right? Tim Duncan was 24 when Tony Parker came in at 19, right? It was a 5-year gap. There was a 6-year gap with Wemby and Fox. And then Tony Parker, when he was 20, Manu Ginobili joined the team at 25. So it's a 5-year gap. Unless you're trying to tell me that extra year is just too much, I don't know what we're talking about. I don't know what we're worried about. I don't know what the problem is. I think Fox coming to the team at this tenure, and when he's not even in his prime yet, I mean, he's maybe a year or 2 off of his prime, is phenomenal for this team. And I think that the Spurs, even without Fox, we were already going to end up being a playoff team. I think we were going to have enough talent to get there. But now this is going to be a beautiful transition. And if things don't work out with Fox, yeah, you can trade him. But I don't think we should be worried about, does he fit the timeline? Everybody doesn't have to be the exact same age, right? I know that this is a little different, but Jalen Williams, who's a really great player, J-Dub, how old is he? Because he came into the league a little older. He's 24. He's 24 years old. And how old is Chet? I guess they're like, no, they're actually really close in age, right? Chet's 23. How old is SGA? 26. So yeah, I think a lot of people are just looking at this and just like, oh, okay, we got to be on the exact same timeline. Like everybody has to be a year or two from each other. But history has shown that it's not necessarily the case. That's not necessarily something that happens all the time. And nor do I think Fox is going to be here for the entire duration of the Spurs dynasty. You know what I mean? It's like it's just kind of frustrating when you get a great player for little to nothing and there's still something to complain about or something to worry about. J-Dub is old as Fasel. How old is Fasel? Oh wait, they were in the same. No, they weren't in the same. They weren't in the same draft. No, they weren't. He was in the draft with Sohan, I think. Yeah, they are the same age. They are the same age. But I just knew, I was wondering what Jalen Williams' age was because he came into the league a little older. I knew that. He was like a super senior, I believe. Anyways, it's just silly. Frosty says, Clan, Fox is in our Spurs timeline. Fox believes in the Spurs. Why else come to San Antonio? Forget Giannis and KD. If they want us, they should speak up and say San Antonio is the only team I want. They don't have guts to speak up. I won't go as far as say they don't have guts, but I will say, yeah, they should say Spurs are the team you want to go to. And then, you know, obviously they'll have a few other destinations, but Spurs need to be the main ones. And that's not really happening right now. So, yeah, I'm not really concerned with that. And you know, it's so funny to me when there's certain players where you're not really sure about or you haven't really got to see play. Okay, let me say it like this. There's plenty of Spurs fans that have not watched a lick of Kings basketball, right? There's Spurs fans that only saw like a playoff series with Fox, and that's all they're going off of. And that's totally fine. I understand we're Spurs fans. We're mostly going to watch the Spurs games. But I think people really underestimate how good Fox actually is. So that's number one, okay? And number two, it's also players in the draft that you don't really grasp how great they are, right? I think there was something going around Twitter where someone was saying Dylan Harper, and I agreed, Dylan Harper is better than Steph Castle coming into this league. Like his floor is higher than Steph Castle's coming into the NBA. It's true. It just is what it is. Like both of them are great players, but it just is what it is. He is better. And people got really upset about that. And it's like, well, I don't know if you really seen him play at all. And that's fine. That's okay. But I think when people have like the unknown with Fox because you haven't seen enough of them, unknown with Dylan Harper because you haven't seen any of them, people are willing to say, okay, but Giannis can come to the team. And all of a sudden fit doesn't matter anymore. Because if we really think about it, Dylan Harper fits this team perfectly well. He's not necessarily a ball dominant player. He can do a little bit of both, just like Steph Castle, where he can handle the ball and be a ball handler, or he can be an off-ball player. He's one of the best off-ball players in the NCAA this previous season. So he can do a little bit of everything. But people will say, oh, well, I don't think he fits because he's a point guard. But then they will say in the same breath that Giannis fits. And I'll be honest with you guys, Giannis does not fit. Do I care? No, he's Giannis, right? You're going to make it work. He's so talented. You can try to make it work. The only thing I care about is giving up everything for him, and which that's probably what's going to have to happen. But if we're just saying, does this player fit? I feel like we only care when it's certain players, when it's players we're not 100% familiar with, because it's a crazy statement to say Dylan Harper doesn't fit, because he fits on this team more so than Giannis would fit. I want to see what the chat thinks about that. Like, is that a crazy statement for me to say that Giannis doesn't fit? I'm gonna read some of these comments. We'll end the segment, but that's how I feel. By the way, this isn't alcohol or anything. It's just zero sugar soda. It's pretty nice. L take. Okay, explain. Because defensively, I can see Giannis fitting perfectly fine. Offensively, I don't know. Yeah, it's a crazy statement. Very crazy. Okay. I mean, you guys got to break it down to me. Because how I see it is, every time that Wemby has had a player that's ball dominant around the rim, right, and requires the to be super effective requires the ball in their hands. He hasn't really fit too well, right? I don't know. I feel like you make it happen. You make it work. But as far as like, does Giannis just fit offensively? I don't know. Clay and Giannis doesn't fit with us. Harper would fit great. He would add to everyone's game. No, we know that. We know. I know that Harper does fit. And this isn't me saying I wouldn't want Giannis. My only point is I don't care. I'm not worried about Spurs are not in that. I should probably elaborate. I don't think the Spurs are in a situation yet where we can just solely focus on fit. We're not at that point, right? I think a lot of Spurs fans were taken aback by Vassell this season, which he dealt with a lot of injuries, but I think we all can agree he's not a second guy to Wemby. He'll never be that. Maybe not even a third guy. He might end up being like a fourth option. And if that's the case, I don't want to say we're behind because we're not behind, but we definitely need somebody that can be that second scorer next to Wemby. Fox will be that for a period of time, but obviously you need some young guys to come up and eventually be that as well. So all I'm saying is I think that what you really need to focus on right now, rather than fit, you really need to focus in on talent. I mean, you still need more talent, right? And if that talent, if you can't figure it out and have that talent fit, then it's a talented enough player that you can make a move and get somebody that does fit. That's also, equally as talented. Possibly you could do something like that, right? That's the point of taking your second overall pick. They'll be valuable for a very long time. There'll always be a team willing to take a chance on a second round overall pick. So, yeah, defensively, there wouldn't be a better duo. Offensively, Giannis would play in the paint, and any double team would open up Wemby around the arc. Any double on Wemby will open up Giannis in the paint. I guess. I've just seen time and time again when Wemby is with another very big man in the paint, it just has not panned out, and it actually doesn't work out that well. It happened in the Olympics. Happened with us that we made sure Wemby was just like the main big guy out there. I don't know. I do agree with you. Defensively, they fit, but offensively, I don't know. I don't think. I guess my only point is nobody really cares about fit at that point. Like, take any talented player in the NBA, some of the best players in the NBA. Would anyone care about fit? Like getting Jokic, right? Like, would anybody think about fit? No one would think about fit. You just think about talent. I think it's just a matter of who you know and who you don't know. If we brought in, the most talented guy in the world, and you never seen him play, nobody cares. They'll make up excuses how they don't fit, even though they fit perfectly fine. Getting Giannis will just gut our depth. Yeah, and you can kind of see in today's NBA, depth is very important. Look who's left in the playoffs. Like, depth is important. Those super teams that's long and gone, which is a good thing. I'm glad that they're gone. But by the way, I bet you the NBA is just praying that the Spurs and Wemby save their product. What's up, Clan? Go Pacers. Yo, that was a crazy performance. I'm not going to lie. I'm actually excited to watch the Pacers play. I never thought I'd say that. Exactly. I'm against gutting our depth. Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know. Sorry. I went on a little bit of a tangent there with the whole Giannis thing. People can agree, disagree. It's whatever. I'm not saying anybody's like 100% wrong on this. This isn't one of those like yell at the chat situations. But I will say, I will double down and say, if you say that Fox is too old or he doesn't fit the timeline, I don't know what you're talking about, man. I really don't. I mean, you go back to Tim Duncan, Tony, Manu, wasn't a problem then. Why is a 6-year gap a problem right now? Especially for a player that you grabbed for little to nothing, that wanted to be here. So I'm not worried. I'll read one more. Clan, I say if Giannis or KD wants San Antonio, they need to pull pull a Fox. Only way I would be okay with either of them coming to San Antonio. Don't want to give up a lot. Yeah, you want to have as much leverage as humanly possible. But the news out of Milwaukee is that they're not concerned with doing right by Giannis when it comes to a trade, which, I mean, I'm sure that's good for the fans, but not good for us. Calling a 27-year-old Fox old is actually mental. It's crazy. So many people are stuck in, are you 19, 20, 21, or 22? Like, they're so stuck in that. And it's like, dude, especially in today's NBA, like, players can last pretty long. I don't know. Anyways.